I won my seat by 82%. Know this, I am going to come through on a landslide just like Trump did. Know that I will be victorious.
You know, they say if you repeat something long enough, even if it's not true, you might just convince yourself and some other people. And that's exactly what Tiffany Henyard has been doing. So for years, she's bragged about her so called landslide victory in Dolton, for the mayor's race, strutting around like she's conquered the world. And now she's up the ante, guys, comparing herself to Donald Trump, claiming she'll win again, just like she did before. But here's the thing, guys. What Tiffany calls a landslide is more like a mirage. And when you stack up her numbers against the massive pool of eligible voters, the truth becomes crystal clear. This was no landslide, guys. It was barely a ripple. And guess what? I've got the stats to back it up, the receipts, the cold hard numbers that will blow this myth out of the water. So stick around because this is the real story that Tiffany Henyard doesn't want you to know. And let me take a moment to welcome you to Southern Confidential. And if you're new here, I'm so glad you found us. If you would, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And to my MVPs, our returning viewers, you already know you're the backbone of this channel. Now we're on a mission to hit 10K subscribers, and with your help, we can get there. So don't forget to like the video, share the video, and let's keep growing together. Now, back to our story.
Take it. Next election, we got to vote around. Period. We can't have a bunch of people running. That's how she got in by 100 votes. Now, I know 82%. She got in by 120 votes. 4% of the vote.
Now, let's talk about this so-called landslide. So Tiffany's been telling anyone who would listen, the residents, the media, the public at large, her wig collection, everybody, that she won the Dolton mayoral race in an overwhelming victory. But here's the thing. When you actually look at the numbers, the truth paints a very different picture. What Tiffany calls a landslide, well, it's more like a ripple, in my opinion. And once I break down the numbers for you, it'll be crystal clear why Tiffany's claims just simply don't add up. Now, you can decide for yourself when it's all said and done if Tiffany really did win by a landslide, or was it because people simply did not show up to vote? Now, the numbers, they don't lie, guys. And when we pull the data, here's what we found. So, sometimes, guys, the devil is in the details. And that is what Edward Steve was talking about when he said that Tiffany had only won by just over 100 votes. We'll explain. So when it comes to Tiffany's victory in February of 2021 in the consolidated primary elections, the details paint a very different picture from her claims of a landslide. Now, let's take a closer look. So if you look at everything in context, Dolton's population was somewhere around 21,000 residents in 2021. Now, give or take ballpark, somewhere around the 21,000 mark. That's how many residents they had registered at that time. Now, of that 21,000 or so, about 16,647 residents were registered voters. Yet, only 2,933 approximately residents actually turned out to vote, a mere 17.62% voter turnout. This means over 82% of registered voters stayed home, leaving a small percentage of Dolton's population to decide the outcome of the race. See, this is important, guys, because Tiffany is a master at mincing words. Now, she can actually pee down your leg and tell you it's raining. And if you don't look at the details, you just might believe her. Now, here's the breakdown even further. There were 4 candidates total, and that goes for the primary election. We're referring to the primary election, right? There was Robert Shaw, who received 169 votes for 5.79%. Move on to Tiffany Henyard. She received 1,001 votes, right? That's 34.28%. Andrew Holmes received 862 votes for 29.52%. And then Riley Rogers was right on Tiffany's tail with 888 votes for a total of 30.41%. So as you see, it's not the landslide that she's been claiming. All right, so let's address the elephant in the room. Tiffany Henyard won. And to be fair, a win is a win is a win. And we'll give her that. And I'm sure some of you might be even thinking, hey, it's not her fault so few people turned out to vote. And you could be right. But we do have to consider that low voter turnout can also be a symptom of something much bigger. You know, maybe people lost interest in the election, felt their voices didn't matter, or simply didn't connect with any of the candidates. So while Miss Tiffany has every right to celebrate her win, we're here to dig into the details, because when you call something a landslide, the numbers had better back it up. So let's look into it even further. So to put even more perspective to this, guys, look at it like this. If you break it all down, Tiffany's 1,001 votes, she only beat Riley Rogers by 113 votes. And then she only beat Andrew Holmes by 139 votes. So in essence, a town of people with over 16,000 registered voters, only 2,933 approximately people actually went out to vote. So Tiffany's 1,001 votes only accounted for 6% of the total registered voters in Dolton in 2021. So her whole story line of I won by a landslide, guys, it is absolutely not true. As you can see, the numbers don't lie. Now, let's move on to the general election that took place on April 6, 2021, just a few months after the primaries back in February of that year. It appears that the number of registered voters in Dolton had increased by, let's just say, give or take, 2,000 to 18,603, up from that 16,647 number back in February during the primaries. But despite the increase in the registered voters, the turnout still tells a very different story from the landslide victory that Tiffany Henyard is claiming. So looking at the key stats, like I said, the registered voters, about 18,600 approximately. Only 2,559 people turned out to vote. Just over 13% of the people turned out to vote. That's right. Less than 14% of registered voters showed up at the polls. So for context, that means that just over 86% of eligible voters decided not to participate. So a tiny fraction of Dolton's population ultimately determined the outcome. Now, I will post this down in the description box, a link to all of the data if you'd like to go ahead and check that out for yourself. So the long and short of it, guys, is that Tiffany received 2,036 votes. It was 82% of the people that voted, and Ronnie Burge received 446 votes, which was 17.9%. Now, let's pause for a second. Tiffany really received 82% of the votes, but with just 2,559 ballots cast overall, that's only like just over, 10% of the total registered voters. So while it sounds like an overwhelming victory on paper, the truth is far less dramatic when you factor in how few people actually voted. And there you have it, guys. The cold hard numbers. Tiffany's grand narrative of a landslide victory crumbles under even the slightest scrutiny. Like most of the numbers she loves to throw around, this one is as deceptive as it gets, with no receipts to back it up. So let's be real, Tiffany. Girl, you spent more dollars in one day on Amazon than the total number of people who voted for you in Dolton in 2021. That's not a landslide, girl. That's a sprinkle at best. And while we're at it, stop comparing your 2021 win to Trump's so called landslide. Just stop. You're not fooling anyone, Tiffany. The numbers don't lie, but they sure do paint a very different picture than the one that you've been selling. And that's a wrap, guys, on today's deep dive. Now, you know I'm on a mission to hit 10K subscribers by the end of February, and I can't do it without you. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends and family. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Southern Confidential. It means the world to me. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video.